Well, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to Talking Baseball Australia Live. Baseball's best mate, Dan Fawn with you. Paul Morgan will be joining me in a moment. Opening day 2021. Let's roll the open in 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
It's Talking Baseball Australia. It's baseball updates you'll really love. The MLB and ABL news you want. With Paul Morgan and Dan Vaughn. It's baseball's best mate all year round. From the batter's box to the mound.
And welcome to another edition of Talking Baseball Australia Live. Baseball's best mate. And I got a little noise behind me, so I don't know how that's going to work on Facebook Live. Hopefully it will not be too bad. Paul will be joining me in just a moment. I'm a little time crunched today, okay? So I had to roll the open and get going because time isn't cooking. We're already a few minutes late here. Opening day 2021. Hope you're having a good one in Australia, across the great southern land, and, of course, in North America. I'm live here at Texas Live. We're right outside Globe Life Field. I am no more than 55, 60 meters from the opening for the gates that on Monday will be open here in Texas for coming through just fine. Thank you, Steve. I'm right there. The gates are right there. I'm right here at Texas Live. It's attached to the ballpark and to the entertainment area here in Arlington. And I'm actually at Lockhart's Barbecue, which is what are you going to do? It's opening day in Texas. What do? Watch some Rangers and Royals and have some barbecue and a cold adult beverage. So we're doing that here today. Glad you're along. Questions and comments on the show today. We're not going to dive into rosters necessarily or do some predictions. We're going to tell you a little bit about later on about an opening day Australian story that I dug up just in randomness this week. We'll do that. We're also going to do a little just here chatting back and forth. There's some rules and things, but Paul will be joining me hopefully here shortly. Again, I had to go ahead and roll the open and get going here, but Paulie, if you're out there, I'm going to go ahead and put the link up for you right now, and hope you'll see that. But if not, anyway, glad you're along today. Hope your team is doing well. If you're watching, I know Paul was up overnight. Blue Jays and Yankees, last I saw, they were even. There's the app right there. Paul, there's the line right there. You want to jump right in there. Let me pull some graphics up for you. And no guest today, but that's all good. We weren't really planning on it. And hopefully, gosh, my worry is the one part about shooting from out here is that there's music around, and I'm using my old school microphone here, so hopefully it's not picking up all the jams. We get muted completely by Facebook, and if we do, we'll repost this somehow. I don't know how I'll do it, but it's an effort, okay? Talking Baseball Australia Live, we're trying here something different. So as soon as Paul joins us, we'll keep rolling here. Opening day, 60 games last year. This year, 162. Major League Baseball starting today. We'll do a little – there's not really much ABL news, but we'll kind of mention the one or two things that we've seen. And hopefully when Paul joins us, we'll talk more about some history out west, some really good stuff happening over the course of the last few days out in Perth as they celebrate the new Hall of Fame there. But again, glad you're along. We'll hear from you. A question of the day. It's pretty simple. Who's your World Series winner as of today? It's very easy, right? I mean, today, right now, April 2nd in Australia, April 1st in North America, who's your World Series winner? It's pretty easy right now, right? I mean, everybody's got a clean slate. The warts haven't shown yet in July and August. So right now, everyone's a winner, right? Everybody is doing good. Everybody's a winner right now. So tell us what you got as far as that's concerned in storylines coming up as well. We're going to talk a bit about those things. I'm right outside. I'm going to go ahead and give you, if you don't mind, I'm going to actually give you a little video that I shot earlier because I was going to walk around, but I didn't want to leave my laptop be gone across the place. Not that people are going to do something bad to it, but let me kind of show you where I'm at. First off, this is where we're at. I'm going to load this in the system here so you can see it. But you'll see where we're at and what we're actually doing here. But Globe Life replaced the ballpark, and right on my left shoulder, I actually can do this a little bit this way, and you can kind of add it's a little bright there. But that is the old ballpark, the old Globe Life Field. And it's probably, I don't know, 200 yards from here, 300 yards, run across the street. To my right, actually, I don't know if you can make this out either. I'm going to give it to you anyway. Maybe not. It's hard to make that out there, isn't it? That sun is really bright. It's heading that direction here at just past 5 o'clock local time. Just about a half mile to my right is AT&T Stadium. Also, stadium there. Rangers right here behind me, the old Rangers ballpark, which they also use for odds and ends. So I'm going to give you guys the walk-up today. This is the walk-up today. Usually, now Monday, this place will be bumping. This whole bar area, I'm in like in a pub, a little outside pub area. There's a stage, a couple big screens behind me. There's log carts. There's a bar there, a bar across the way, a bar there, a smokehouse there, restaurant. And behind me is this whole, and I'm going to show you a video in a moment where I'm at behind me is where the, and I'll show this to you right now. Let me go ahead and mute this here, but let me give you guys the video here and I'll put it over you. There we go. This is today at Globe Life Field. This is walking up. This is how close I am. You can see off in the distance there, that is Jerry World. Now see that Arlington backyard? That's where I'm sitting. I'm sitting right there. I'm in Arlington backyard is where I am right now. And you see the old ballpark right there, right across the street. Nothing wrong with that bad boy. That's facing the east here. And then we're standing here and looking back around to the front gate there. And you got a good idea of the ballpark. I'm going to walk you guys to the fountain, which is to my left. If I turn the camera, you can see it, but I'm going to walk you guys sort of to the fountain, although I almost tripped right here, so you have to watch it and make sure you don't. But there's the fountain right up front of the ballpark. You can have a 7-Eleven right there. How about that, huh? All good right there. There you go. Arlington backyard. There we are right there. And that will bring us to where we're at. And we're going to see we're going to be turn this in a moment, and we're going to be kind of looking toward where we're at right now currently, as we're right there to our left. And I'll bring this down here, but I'm right to the left there. So there you go. That is where we're at. We're sitting right here in the backyard here, and right here out to the ballpark. So that's how close we are. No other Australian baseball show is live that I know of in North America. So I guess we've got that going for us, right? So that's pretty cool. All right, headlines today. I mentioned, of course, the scoreboard. I'm not going to worry with that right now, but fans in the stands right across the street here, as I mentioned, 75 meters or so. Texas will have 100% capacity at least to start. There's some talk, and I saw this today in the local paper, that there's a chance that they may drop capacity to a degree. They may bring it down 50%. Houston, which is about 4 hours south of here, they're going to be doing only 50%. But interesting note that the cities and the way they shake out, Texas 100%, Houston 50%. Denver right now, the Rockies are playing the Dodgers. Last I saw, Clayton Kershaw and company were tied 1-1 with the Rocks there in Denver. 42.6% capacity there. Kansas City, which is playing Texas right now on my shoulder, 33%. In there in the K in Kauffman Stadium. And then you've got Atlanta 33%, St. Louis 32%, and the only real northern city as far north, almost Lake Erie, is Cleveland at 30%. Everybody else in North America, whether it be New York, well, New York teams are less than 20. They're 20 and 20, I believe. All the ballparks out west also below 20 or below. But if you look down the middle of the country, Kansas City, Houston, Dallas-Fort Worth, St. Louis, Atlanta in the south, those are all going to be over, in Denver, kind of the middle, all over 30%. So that's where we stand as far as that's concerned. We were asked the question today. I thought about asking this question to you anyway, but it turns out we've already had a disruption. We were asking ourselves, I guess I should have said, how many disruptions will we have? Greetings, Phil. Let's see here, Phil. I've been popping up on the screen there. Sorry, I got a little glare there. Phil says, greetings, salutations. Have you in one ear. Bob Euchre calling Brewers and Twins. The other, there you go, extras. Extra innings there. As Paul will be joining me in just a moment. I'm sure a little bleary-eyed because he had to watch extras as well. I think I was watching that a moment ago, but I'm going to actually get him in there in just a moment, and I'll get back to what we're talking about. First off, can you hear me over Australia?
I can, DV. I can hear, but must have had a time zone change, DV, because I was just getting ready,
Yes, we
kind
did.
of,
We did.
I was
I
looking and I was
forgot we
like,
dropped back. I got your coffee for you.
yeah, no, I saw my phone. It was 6:15 in the morning, and I saw baseball is live. I thought we're
You're
early.
right. You're right. You know what? I just realized that's why I thought honestly that you may have been watching the Blue Jays and Yankees and fell asleep. That was my concern. So let's see. Just a bit outside. Yeah, just a bit outside is true there, Steve. You're right on. Partner, just to recap where I was, I'm at Globe Life. I just showed a video a moment ago. I'm right here at the backyard, they call it, in right 75 meters from the ballpark gates, and the ballpark is a bar away from me. I'm in the little area here. Behind me inside, as I was telling the folks, is a place called Texas Live, which I'm in. They've got a really cool, and I'm going to show the video in a moment, little setup here. But because the team's in the road, there's still some folks here milling about, but not quite what it'll be on Monday, when here in Texas, there'll be 100% capacity, at least allowed in here, the only ballpark in the nation doing that. And that's where we're starting with our headlines. But what I was going to jump to, because I mentioned Texas and Houston, St. Louis, Kansas City, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Denver. You're a Blue Jays guy. That's a unique situation. I was going to segue into that. Toronto, they're not going to Toronto. What can you tell us as a Blue Jays guy? What is that situation like for Toronto? That's a storyline to talk about.
Look, so they're going to start this season, I believe, in down in Dunedin, and then they're going to go to Buffalo, and I think they're committed to Buffalo until the end of May, and they're going to reassess the situation
Right.
whether they can go into Canada. Of course, the border between the US and Canada is not open or not. Canada's sort of taking a similar stance, albeit it's still a mess over there to Australia. But you would think, hopefully, by sort of mid-July, you start to get a lot of guys vaccinated. If the players are all vaccinated, which I know that's a separate subject with the 85% rule for their life sort of going back to normal at the moment. You'd imagine they'd head back to Toronto, but I can't see that happening unless players are vaccinated. I just can't see that. I can't see them going back to Toronto unless that's all
And
done.
it sounds like Buffalo's an option for Toronto as well, in some form or fashion. I think the problem is that Buffalo's got AAA as well. So how does that work between the AAA club, the big club? That's an issue as well. But I think that's what they expect, and they're working on that right now. I was asking this when I saw you pop on. I was saying I was going to ask the question: will we have any disruptions this year? And we've already had one. There's already been a little COVID outbreak. Washington Nationals game today was stopped, mostly for contact tracing. We're going to get to that a bit in a moment. But I was going to say, will there be stoppages? Well, we didn't get to one day, so I guess I should say that's what we're going to be dealing with this year. I think we're going to be seeing on a weekly basis some flexibility because of what we're going through and trying to get this thing going. Much like the ABL did this year, flexibility will be key for the big leagues.
Yeah, I think COVID will become the new rain delay this year. I think there'll be plenty of it. And look, I think it just seems like such a like even in Texas to get 100% capacity, it just seems like such a jump from where they. I mean, there's no stadium in Australia there, I don't believe that's got 100% capacity, and there's no COVID here. So you'd expect some form of outbreaks. You'd expect it to be a bit of a mess from time to time, but yeah, I think the key now is just getting those getting those players vaccinated. I think that's something that but from what I'm hearing, DV, is there's a lot of players who are anti-vaxxers as well, which is causing a bit of an issue in itself. But it's I would think you're going to have lots of spot fires and lots of problems along the way, which could really, I think, hamper particularly April, May, June, may correct itself towards the back end of the season. But I think you're going to find. I think this is going to be the normal. I think you're going to have 2 or 3 games bumped a day.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why that they've kind of given some leeway in the schedule in the back end because of it. Uh, they did do some reductions in the rosters, but they still are keeping more players than usual. I listened to the pregame show on the way over this afternoon uh, to Chris Woodward, the manager of the Texas Rangers, and he was saying that he felt within their clubhouse, and I'm paraphrasing what he said, because of the vaccinations, a lot of players taking, and because of the staff around them that have been vaccinated, they felt like there's light at the end of the tunnel. But that being said, he was very clear that they're going to have to be ready to be flexible at any moment because, granted, it's not like last year where we had no answers. We had some answers with the vaccination and how that transpires, but it's still a very touch and go situation despite vaccination. So I think we're going to be seeing that. It's a fluid situation. You know what, partner? I got to tell you, that may be the case going forward 6-8 months now in all sport. What you think?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think the NHL have sort of had little hiccups along the way, but I think they've controlled their product a little bit better. I mean, but at the same time, they've weakened their product by controlling their product as well. So, look, I think it just is what it is now. It's just like you've got to get out, you've got to play the games, and I think I think two things are going to happen this year, DV. I think there's going to be a lot of interruptions, and I think there's going to be a lot of teams who are going to try to recoup costs along the way. And I think there's one glaring one for me for the Blue Jays, who Rogers, who the company that own the Blue Jays, that they're also scrapped the radio broadcast while they're taking the TV broadcast, putting it into the radio broadcast as well. The team, the media company, Rogers, who owns the Blue Jays, also owns the TV network and the radio network. So I guess there's no one's going to complain to
Yeah.
them. But I just think that'll be the interesting part to see as well, DV. On top of these COVID stoppages, call it stoppages, what are teams going to do as well to try to make money back from last season? Because like a good casino, DV, the house always wins.
House always wins. And I'll give you an ABL comparison, partner. Let's look at it this way. Remember, he talked about this over and over again in the Australian Baseball League season, where I was worried about revenues for the ball clubs. Granted, only playing 20 home games or whatever, but I was worried about the revenue because suddenly, Perth got 2 series in, Sydney got 6 games in. All these teams didn't play their full allotment. So take the Blue Jays as an example. If they're half their games they can't make any revenue, they got to cut some corners. Now, I don't agree with the move, but because they're not playing games on Canadian soil and have a chance to draw, what do they average tonight? What do they probably average? 18, 20,000, something like that? Because they can't average that. That hurts the bottom line, so something's got to give. That I see their business decision, but I hope it's not a long-term decision. I hope it's just a COVID decision.
It's interesting because it's also, I think.
Well, lost Paul there. Just lost my sheet too. Just lost my script there. Just lost Paul there. I'm going to bring him down there. Let him connect back up here in just a moment. But we're talking baseball. Oh, he's back. I'm going to pull him back in again. And while he's talking, I'm going to grab my script that blew away. Can you hear me there? My script blew away. I'm going to grab it. While you're talking, I'm going to grab it real fast. So go ahead. You were saying
what I was going to say with the Blue Jays in their radio deal as well. What's interesting about their radio deal is it probably started to go a little south. Their radio deal not the radio deal, but they had Jerry Howarth, who was a long-time play-by-play guy. They had Mike Wilner, who was a long-time play-by-play guy. Last year, 2 years ago, they started to change the talent on the broadcast as well. Probably didn't get the best feedback in the world changing those talent. There was a long-standing Jerry Howarth, of course, who was doing the radio for 30-odd years, who had left. So I think it was a culmination of, the new combo in the radio booth wasn't great. And as a result, maybe they thought that one was easy. But good to see you got your script, DV.
Yeah, I had to check it out. A little breezy through here today. We call this in West Texas or in Texas, Central Texas, West Texas, a dog run because it's a little breezeway, and so that it blew me out of here. So very, very Texas place to be here today. A little breezy day. One thing, and I don't have a picture for you because I'm going to move along here, but contact tracing is going to be huge right now, partner. I mean, it's going to be huge. They've got, I'm wearing this little smartwatch here. basically what they're wearing, what they've got these players and staff wearing is a contact tracing device. It's a little, about the size of a watch. You wear it. If you get too close to someone who's, in all the bad people list, well, it beeps. And what also does too, it keeps track of where you go and who you're around. That way, let's say person A catches or tests positive, it tells you who you're around. So you'll know you're around person D, person E, all that. And so that's a big part of it. What the Major League Baseball has done this year is up the contact tracing, hope for testing, and that's the major thing. And I can tell you right now, all the things I've read, and I'm talking from ESPN to the Washington Post to New York Times, Dallas Morning News, contact tracing is going to be the real lay of the land this summer. And if teams don't, or in the U.S. summer it is, if teams don't contact trace, if these teams aren't doing it, that's going to be the key. Because last summer, you may recall this, and we talked about this a little bit. Remember a couple situations where teams would go to a road trip and we had players just leave the hotel and do their thing, and you couldn't contact trace those guys. It was almost impossible, and it caused a lot of strife in Cleveland and Chicago, and that's not going to happen this year. So watch the contact tracing, and that's one reason I think they'll be able to keep this thing, these delays. They'll still get them. You're going to get 1 or 2 games here and there, but you won't get a block of 7 or 8 games because of it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's and then of course it's just going to be up to I know all the league teams and all the major league players probably that. I thought it was fascinating just listening to that 85% rule. If 85% of the team is vaccinated, then it's basically life as normal. The family can come in the clubhouse, and but if that doesn't happen, it's going to be. I think that'll be a real mess. I think that's the one that you're going to have guys. Players are natural. We saw it last year. I mean, guys get a little. You want to see the family, or want to go out for a beer, or get a little toey on the road, so to speak, and it's gonna. It's going to happen unless you sort of get that vaccination sorted.
A couple other topics I want to scattershoot here real quickly here, some more storylines, and I want to get your comments because I know you're on top of this. We talked about the Toronto situation. I'm going to bring this one up because it affects Liam Hendriks, of course, the only Australian in the big leagues right now. Tony La Russa, 76 years old, it's still very young. But as a baseball manager goes, it's a little old, a little older. Of course, he and Reinsdorf are mates. You've got guys like Tim Anderson, energetic, the next face of the big leagues. What is the situation? Is Liam Hendriks' club going to be a postseason club with an older manager? Or is that going to matter? What do you think? Because I love Tony La Russa, but is that age situation going to be affecting that clubhouse and that young youth culture?
Look, I think so. I tend to think so, and more probably DB. I think a 76-year-old trying to assimilate into 2021 cancel culture effectively, I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to end well anyway. I just don't see how that's going to end well anyway. Look, I think you're right. 76 is. It depends what role they play. Maybe in the background, everyone else is pulling the strings, and Tony's sort of just your rah-rah guy, just to sort of stand on the top step and not really get heavily involved. I don't know the setup, but when they announced Tony La Russa, it seemed a little odd at the time. I mean, nothing against him, nothing against his credentials, but it just sort of. I would have thought there were sort of more guys in that 40 to 55 age bracket that might have got an opportunity, but. And I'm not too sure. A lot of people are big on the Cubs, the White Sox DV. I'm not as hot on them for whatever reason, but I'm not as hot on them.
And we're going to get that in a moment. I actually posted this on Facebook to a friend of mine, Kenny Matthews, who followed us is in Metroplex. He was talking about how disappointed he was the fact the Rangers were probably going to be really bad. And I said to him in my post to him that there's always 1 or 2 teams that you think are going to, because they all can't mathematically make it. I mean, obviously one winner, one loser in the end, but of the 6, 8 teams you think will make the playoffs, there's always 1 or 2 that don't make it. There's always 1 or 2 that surprise. And I'm with you. I kind of think, and I hope not, because I want Liam to do well and get a chance on the big stage. But I kind of think that everybody's all in on Chicago, and they forget about the Twins. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I'm with you there that maybe there's a lot of folks all in, and they miss out on that. I love this. This is a topic I've seen a couple bloggers, couple articles from the West Coast, East Coast. I love Mike Trout. Great ball player, good guy, like Mike Trout. But Fernando Tatis Jr., he's the new guy. He's the guy. He's the guy. Is this a big year for him? I mean, obviously he's already a star, but are we watching probably the next Griffey Jr. type, the guy who's going to be on every cereal box, every commercial, every endorsement? Is he the next face of baseball? I seem to think he is. It's a lot of weight for a young man, but he seems to want that role. He wants to be that guy to be the promote. He it seems like he's embracing what is, being the face of baseball. I feel he's the guy.
I agree with you. The only question mark I put on it though is he's in the process of being paid big time and paid big time for a long period of time. So sometimes I wonder, DV, when you got someone on a 2 or 3 year contract and then they're going out to free agency, like you have those guys that have those big seasons to go out to free agency to make mega bank. Now he is young and already making
22,
mega bank.
22,
and what did he sign
20,
for? 360 million,
yeah,
whatever he signed for, somewhere along those lines. So as long as that factor doesn't come into his head that he's playing for now he's playing for his own stats, his own place in history. He's playing for Padres. He's playing for all these things because the money's done, and it's done for the next 10 years. So as long as that part doesn't creep into his head. But I think, look, the one thing I'll say about Tatis Jr. though, DV, is I think he is the great hope for baseball as well, connecting to the youth. For me, he's the guy who's going to connect to the youth far quicker than Mike Trout's going to connect to the youth. And I'm with you. I think he is the next face of baseball. It just depends whether that multi-gazillions of dollars that he earns doesn't get in his way.
We're baseball's best mate. Dan Vaughn, Paul Morgan with you as we are coming away globally from Australia and from North America on Major League Opening Day. It's a holiday. It should be a federal holiday in the States. It's not, unfortunately. And I know we saw Phil was watching the Brewers win, and you watched Toronto overnight. A lot of folks were up early or late, whatever you want to call it, watching baseball. It's a great time to be a baseball fan because we're back to normalcy, sort of. One more thing to note: we're going to dive into this more next show. But the Major League Baseball changed the baseball, a little bit. We've talked about this a little bit to a degree. From what I understand, just watching the pitchers talk about it, the seams are a little more grip on the seams. It's maybe a little lighter. They were hoping that because for the last 16 years, baseball home runs have gone up, and everybody pays for home runs. But you and I, we love good pitching. Everybody pays for home runs, but we love good pitching. They built a ballpark here across the way because A, it was so hot, and B, there was too many home runs in the other ballpark. So this baseball thing, it seems like it's supposed to, the pitchers all like it, but from spring training so far, it's not been proved anything new. Are you looking forward to watching the new baseball? Are we going to be sitting here saying in August or September that, man, it didn't make a difference?
Well, I don't know. It depends what you say. I mean, like today, the Yankees and the Blue Jays were a 3-2 ball game, and then say Texas and the Royals were a 10-8 ball game. I guess it depends if you like runs or not. So for me, I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. I don't know, but I know that pitchers, and talking to the great Simon Isons, I mean, it's a touch feel game, of course. So it might be just a total shambles for some of the pitchers, DV.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Oops, I moved you off the screen. Let me pull this back up. I'm trying to be cute here, and I got you on the screen, but I got you now in the graphics.
You got the logo. Get the logo all over me.
Yeah, I'll move it around here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Smooth. There we go. A little better there. Okay. Let's talk about Simon in a few minutes. A couple of rules. The DH is back now in the National League, so we know that. I don't think that's a big front page news, but something to note. We're back to normal baseball this year. No DH in both leagues.
And I think Clayton Kershaw's. I think he's picked up 2 hits today. Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers as well as the DH. And I was just watching it just as I saw you go live. Yeah, he has picked up 2 hits, and surprisingly, I think his open day batting average now, Clayton Kershaw's, is about 390. So he's picked up 2 hits today. So maybe he's pushing the barrier to say, hey, pitchers can hit. Maybe only on opening day, but he's got 2 hits today, Kershaw.
Let me one more thing too. The roster's 26-man roster this year. Opening day until September 1st, 26, and then after opening day they add a couple more, 28 till the end of the season. But that's up from 24. A larger roster would make sense. And I was listening to Chris Woodward again today on the pregame. Some clubs, and it's been interesting to watch what the Yankees might do or the Rays might do. The Rangers must have scored behind me here, fans going nuts. But Texas, for example, carried an extra pitcher. I think most teams now are carrying an extra pitcher early. That may change as the season goes along, but a roster change right there. And also, there are no scheduled doubleheaders this year, but when they do have doubleheaders, just like the ABL, 7-inning doubleheaders. So that'll be the same. And then one more thing, much of the contact tracing, but also we've already seen today the extra inning rule come into effect. Your thoughts on the doubleheader situation and on the extra inning rules? I personally, if you're going to play 2, make it 14 as opposed to 18. And the extra inning rule, talk about an ultimate fence, because you and I both been there. We've watched this thing personally. We've seen these extra inning rules come to effect in the ABL. Is it time for the big leagues to embrace this and say, you know what, screw it, let's embrace this thing?
Look, I think yes, is the short answer. And I think the reason why is, well, it's hard, DV, because we've seen it in effect. Like, I'm all for more free baseball, but I think just the reality of where baseball's at the moment, as you said, that I would think at the end of the season there's going to have to be a lot of made-up games and a lot of different things. So I think, keeping players to sort of 10 innings is probably more appropriate. We were talking, we've got that comment there. I was just looking on the screen to my side. We're talking about the lack of runs, and there's 18 runs in 5 innings in the Royals and the Rangers. So
that was the most runs Texas. That was the most opening day first inning runs Texas has ever scored.
And poor old Gibson, the starting pitcher for the Rangers, an ERA of 135 at the moment, folks.
Not good.
Just the retire.
Not good for business. Not good for business, folks.
Where would that sit in all-time Rangers for the opening day starting pitcher, only going a 3rd inning and giving up 5 earned runs and getting pulled from the game and only retiring 1?
I didn't hear. I'm going to move this because I got a glare here. The sun's setting behind me. Move this a little bit here so I can pull this off the screen. Oh my gosh! Sorry, guys. There we go. Sorry about that. I got the sun's now coming down beyond the stadium there. It gives me better lighting. I look better, but let me bring this all down too, partner. Did you like how I can do this? Is kind of fun though. Be able to do this. There we go. It was the shortest outing for a Rangers starting pitcher ever, although there was one that was due to injury that didn't get pulled. So that doesn't count. But as far as a guy who wasn't injured, that's the shortest. But it's also the most runs they scored in a first inning. So, I spent a lot of time in Kansas City, so I'm going to be catching a holy heck for that one. I want to jump around. I'm kind of fast forward here. I want to show you this. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
While we're on the Rangers, I wanted to, and we were talking about saving money before, and we're on the Rangers now. I wanted to get your take on Rougned Odor, who they've eaten his contract now for, I think, around $20 or $30 million, somewhere around that. In this sort of economic climate, I mean, how much of that do you think is going to happen? Like, just these players, how much of that are they going to persevere with players? Rangers obviously going into a route of young players coming through, with your mate Elvis as well getting shipped out of the building. But how much do you think that's going to happen? How many teams do you think are going to go, right, well, Odor doesn't sit in our philosophy anymore, so we're going to eat that $30 million?
It's hard in this day and age with people out of jobs and suffering. It's hard to see that happen. The guy's set for life. That being said, from a baseball point of view, when Chris Young took over as basically he's the GM as far as player development and player operations are concerned, former Ranger, former Pod, former Royal. He's a Dallas native. He's working for John Daniels, who's actually the executive VP. I I think that signal when Odor, because they gave Odor every chance to make the club. They offered him a spot at third. He had a chance. Try to change your approach at the plate. All these things that they tried to encourage him to do. He didn't succeed in any of those things. He didn't hit well in spring training. He didn't play well at third. He didn't embrace the adjustments. He's not going to change, and so he's out the door. I think what that signals and tells you is, regardless, his only place for Odor was if he made it at third base, and that's the only way he's going to stick. If not, then we're going to go a direction which signals to me this club is a full rebuild. It's a full rebuild for 24, perhaps even 26. That's where they're at right now. Unfortunately, what sucks about it is this is a market of 8 million people. This is not, by no means am I trashing Cincinnati. It's not Cincinnati. It's not Atlanta. Not even Kansas City. This is a major market. This is a top 5 market in the country with a lot of money to spend in a brand new ballpark, right? Like I said, right around the corner, right here. I mean, it's right there, folks. There it is, right there. That's it. That's how close I am. And you got a ballpark to fill, and you're not going to be very good. So why not make that move now? And I'm going to pull the Band-Aid off. I hate to see it because he was a kind of a connection to the old club, but I guess the real sign was seeing Elvis go first. But what better business to be in than the sports world? Yeah, baseball, hockey, NBA, whatever. Head coaches, you lose your job, you still get paid. You and I lose our jobs. We're down filing at the dole line. That's what we do. So it's a bit of a crazy thing there. But yeah, that's my thought on that. I mean, again, here on Baseball's Best Mate. A couple things here. I'm got my son. I love the sun. It looks good on me, but had a hard time. I want to talk about Liam real quick. Liam Hendriks is a star. Do we expect the ceiling? Is it already been reached? I don't think so. I think Liam Hendriks is going to be, if the White Sox succeed and make the postseason and go far, he's there. He'll be a huge part of it. I don't think he'll be the reason they don't succeed, is what I'm saying. I hope they do for his sake, even though I'm not sold on the White Sox, but I think his ceiling has not been reached yet. If you watch him in spring training, boy, he looked good.
I agree with you, DV. I think this will be a huge year for. I think the next 2 years will be huge. I think he thinks he probably can get another year contract or so after the 3 with the White Sox as well. And look, I think he's just getting. I mean, he's just really sort of in the last 2 seasons found his feet, and I think now he's confident. I think the biggest thing for Hendriks is he's extremely confident. The money that they're paying him sort of, gives him the tick that they have faith in him, and everyone thinks he's a top reliever in the league. And I think he's just got a different mindset now when he goes to pitch. I think he'll be enormous this year and the next. I'm a little with you. I don't think the White Sox are going to be as good as what people say they're going to be, but I do think that not yet reached. I do think he'll have a better year this year than he did last year, and I think he'll have an even better year next year than he's had in his career. I think the next couple of years are going to be huge for Hendriks, and I think the White Sox, if they can get it together, have one of the best bullpen pieces they could ask for. And I think his star is just on the rise, DV. And I think when it's all said and done, he will be the greatest Australian to do it.
I'm going to show you guys. We shift a little bit here on Baseball's Best Mate here, Talking Baseball Australia. Dan Vaughn, Paul Morgan with you. You come to Globe Life and you come to Texas Live, partner. This is what you get. Roll the video here. This is the ultimate. To me, it's the ultimate day at the ballpark. I got a Coldwood, and you got a little bit of this. I'm going to roll this for you. Look at this. Look at this. A little brisket. You got your condiments there. You got your blue cheese coleslaw, your sauce, your bread. Good smoked brisket there. I mean, look at that. I mean, what else can a person ask for? That's what you get right here at Lockhart's. Here in a legendary name in barbecue, a town called Lockhart, Texas. There it is. Just right on my shoulder is where we're at. And that's where we're at right now. That's where I'm at right now. But it's a legendary town in Texas for barbecue. And as a matter of fact, my wife and I made a road trip there 3 times to actually just eat barbecue. So you wonder why I'm a fat kid right there. So that's, to me, gives you a little spirit of what we're doing here. You got a little food here. I'm going to show you one more thing too. in a moment, because I have to kind of fast forward here. I'll let this thing load in. I'll get to it in a few minutes. Um, will we see it? I mean, I think it's a pretty easy answer here. We won't see any Australian debuts this year, will we? I can't see that. I mean, is there anybody I'm missing? Is there anyone I'm missing on debut? I mean, is there someone out there that maybe slips through the cracks that I'm not thinking of? I'm not talking about ABL alums. I'm talking about Australian major leaguers. Aren't we probably 2 years away? Maybe we're probably a year away from that, though.
Yeah, I think we're 2 years. Look, I think we're 2 years away. Yeah, I can't think of anyone, DV, that no one really springs to mind. But I think you'll see why. I think Whitefield will get a bit more time as an Australian. I think he'll get a bit more time in the Twins organisation.
Yes.
I mean, the only thing that could possibly happen is if the Tigers
I think so.
Maybe they. I don't think they'll promote Boyarsky, but the
Wells Twins. Be a late.
Yeah.
The Wells Twins. I would think that would be your next one, because Baltimore. Now they're supposed to, I mean, I don't know their situation exactly as far as the pitching is concerned, but I think that's probably your next spot. I would think. I mean, I think so. That's your next spot. Although, what?
No, it's just I agree with you, and I just think that Baltimore are a mess, and I just think that they're going to be a mess all season. So I just think that potentially that's your next destination, DV.
No doubt about it. Couple things here. There's some delicious matchups this year. I think this could be a year where 100-game winners finish second place in the division. And I'll give you 2 cases this is possible. I think it's very easily this could happen in the National League West, where the Dodgers and Padres could both win 100 games, and one be a second place team. I think the other possibility is probably in the National League East, the Braves and Mets. I think those are really good races there. But as far as 2 teams that can, your division winner wins 100, your runner-up wins 100 as a wild card, I think that's possible. And it's only happened most recently in 2018 it happened, but it doesn't happen that often. Like 8 times in the last 40 years, something like that. I think you can see, though, just those 4 teams are stacked. And with Lindor's new contract, I just could see those 4 teams all winning 100 games in those 2 division races, and one team not winning a division. Can you imagine winning 100 games and not winning your division?
No. And look, I think it will happen. 100% it'll happen with the Dodgers and the Padres. I think those 2 teams are runaway teams. I think they'll both win over 100 games. You know what? I think I don't know why, but just give me the Padres over the Dodgers this season. I have no logic. And you look at that Dodgers starting rotation. I was listening to something the other day, and David Price can't even make that rotation anymore. That's how strong that Dodger rotation is now. So I mean, it's a phenomenal rotation. They've got some incredible position players. Something just tell. I don't know. I've got a feeling about San Diego, but and I'm with you with New York, the Mets, but the one thing I've got to say about the Mets, DV, is how often in your life have the Mets been better than the Yankees for a sustained period of time?
Not very long. It's only been the 3 World Series they've been to in general. I mean, and one of those World Series they played the Yankees, so that was a push right there. Yankees won that series. It's not very often, and it's kind of funny. The Mets have kind of snuck up on me. I didn't realize. So I looked at the roster today. I was like,
they got good arms. They got some good.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
No, I like the Mets a lot. I think what's his name that's taken over the team, Steve Cohen.
Yep.
And he's done he's done a great job. He's on Twitter. He's talking to the fans on Twitter. He's sort of asking the fans what they want to do. They were all in for George Springer as well, of course, who ended up going to Toronto. But Lindor is a phenomenal player that they seemingly are getting a $350 million deal done for now. But look, if they stay healthy, I mean, they've got a very good rotation, the Mets. They got some good timely hitting. They're a real. I mean, I think that's a division that's hard to win. Not a division. I think that's a league that's hard to win for them. But they could go. They could do a lot. But I reckon they're the team a lot of people are sleeping on.
No doubt. I'm with you on that, and we'll probably get to that in a moment. Um, you want to? I want to give you real quick because I got to really fast forward here. I got a flight in about 3 hours, so uh, I want to see these three races head to head. And I'll tell you the one that it's easy to say Dodgers and Padres. That'll be a good race, obviously.
Hmm.
But I think Twins White Sox could be a lot of fun. That could be a lot of
Yeah.
fun. Those three races outside of the Dodgers and Padres, those three races could be phenomenal viewing for fans of those ball clubs. Anyone you like more than
Like
other?
last year. Well, last year I was on the Twins to win the World Series. I thought they were due to win the World Series. I still love the Twins. I think I'm with you. I think that race is so good, and I don't. Even though Cleveland have lost a lot of players, I think they'll pinch a lot of games off some of those two teams as well. So, but I think the Twins in that division, DV. I think the Twins will win out in that division, and but I think it's such a good. But I don't know. There's something about the Twins. They got a little bit better as well in the off season. I like them. I like them a lot. I think they massively underperformed last year. I think they're back and big time ready. And
Do you
of
want to
course,
roll through
Phil
prediction?
Gordon.
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, talk about Jack a
Well,
lot.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna. I was just gonna circle back and Phil's. You and I remember that time we watched Jack O'Loughlin pitch for the Adelaide Bite, and we said, "Oh, I think they were the Bite at that stage." Now
They
Giants,
were.
and
They were
we
the bite.
said that they were saying we said that this kid's going to go all the way. Detroit won't be good. Detroit will be, in fact, awful. So I
It
think there's a real
doesn't
chance that
hurt
he
them at
gets a
all.
shot there.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, it doesn't hurt them at
no,
all. They're not going to
no.
be great. It doesn't hurt them at all. They won today, but it doesn't hurt them at all. I mean, why not? Why not roll the
It
dice,
was
right?
it was snowing
Why
today
not?
when they won, but
Yeah, it was. It was. It was snowing. You want to do predictions real quick
yeah,
while we're
let's do
here?
predictions. Yep.
Let's go ahead and do the predictions. I'll let you go first. In this one, I'll let you go first. I'm kind of the light here. The AL East. You know what? I'll save that one because that's your division. Let's start with the NL West. That's an easy one, I think. Maybe
Yep.
is it? What do you got in NL West?
We have the Padres winning the division over the Dodgers, followed by I think the San Francisco will be there, and I think long year for Arizona and Colorado. DV.
I got Dodgers, Padres. Both those teams are playoff clubs. San Fran in third. I'm with you. Zona, and then Colorado. NL Central. I'll start here. NL Central. I got St. Louis, kind of a sleeper team. I haven't talked much about them. I got Milwaukee second. I got Cincinnati in third. The Cubs, and then Pittsburgh. I know that's probably not going to be very popular with Chris Dunn, but that's what I got. What about you? What do you got in the Central?
Now I got the Brewers winning that division, followed by St. Louis. Then I'm with you. I'm with Cincinnati. The Cubs only don't finish in the last place because Pittsburgh are probably the worst team in baseball.
NL East. What do you got?
And at least I got the Mets winning that division, followed by the Braves. So I got the Mets, the Braves, and then I've got Washington, Philly, and the Marlins. But the Marlins, that's a tough gig because they made the playoffs last year. So
that is the team. When I remember mentioned earlier about my message to my friend about a team and lightning in a bottle, and some team that's not supposed to be good winds up being good. The Marlins could be that team. That's my vote for the team. Of all the teams that are supposed to be garbage this year, that's my vote for the team that does it. I'm with you. I think they could surprise. I would not be shocked. I will give you Atlanta and New York. Both teams make the playoffs, but Atlanta wins the division. Philly, who also compete for a wild card team, a wild card spot until very late. Then Washington, then the Marlins. That's what I got. AL West. This is the snooze division to me. I got Oakland, Houston in a tight race, but only one playoff team from that. Angels third, Texas, then Seattle. Those two teams at the bottom have a rough time, but a great ballpark here. What do you got in the West? AL West.
I agree with you, DV. I think Oakland are the best team in that. Although I just would love Houston to start falling a few pegs. I think they're going to miss George Springer a bit, and they don't have Justin Verlander as well pitching this year. So Seattle are definitely the worst team in that division. But yeah, look, I'll take Oakland for the division, and I'll take Oakland, Houston, Angels, Texas, Seattle.
Central, I got Minnesota, White Sox. Both teams are playoff with a division winner and a wild card. I got Cleveland in third. Cleveland in third. Kansas City, Detroit. I don't think you'll disagree with me too much there, will you?
No, I agree 100% with you. I think KC and Detroit, long years for those two franchises as well.
In the East, it's a fun division. I love this. Besides the NL West, I love this race. I don't like the teams except for Toronto because of you, because of my loyalty toward you.
Yeah.
But I got Yanks, Rays, Toronto, Baltimore, Boston, and that's the four. But I flip flop today after some thought. I'm going Yanks, Toronto, Rays, Baltimore, Boston, with Toronto and the Yanks postseason bound. I hope that makes you feel a little better.
Yeah, no, it does, and I'm going the same. The Rays, I'm just not sold on the Rays after making the
I
World
have a
Series.
concern. I'll give you my Toronto concern in a moment. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I talked over you there. Go ahead.
The Rays. I have the concern I have with Toronto is their starting pitching. I think they're very thin in starting pitching, and then I think they'll score enough runs, but I don't know if they'll give up. They'll give up too many runs. But the Yankees, I think, will win the division. I think they're the most complete team of all the teams in that division. I'll take Toronto in second as well, because the Rays, I'm just concerned about what they've done trading away their starting pitching. And then Boston, for me, Baltimore will finish bottom of that division. They're awful. I think Baltimore and Pittsburgh are the worst two records in baseball.
I do worry about Toronto because they're not playing at home, because they're a vagabond team. They're kind of playing. There's a chance. There's a chance if things don't improve between the borders between Canada and the United States, they play their entire season as a road team. That is impossible to do. That is, the game is not designed for you to play with no advantage. And that's my only concern. If they get back to Toronto, to Ontario by, say, sometime in June or early July, I feel better about that pick. I like that club a lot. I just wonder how the life on the road, where you play every game out of a suitcase.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where it affects the American Association. We saw it also in the ABL. Winnipeg was really good for the first 75% of the ball games in the summer last year. And they ran out of gas because they played out of suitcases the entire time. Yeah. And I worry about that. These road teams, eventually these vagabond teams, they just can't keep it up. So that's my only concern there.
I agree with you, DV, as well. And I think last year they got away with it because, their core of their team, of course, they made the postseason. Core of their team is young. Probably don't have, like the guys like Guerrero, Bichette, and Kevin Biggio don't have kids and whatnot. So I think they got away with it a little bit last year. But yeah, the longer that drags on, I know the people in Toronto want them back in the building because also I think the team's got to start making some money as well. I mean, they had to spend millions of dollars on Buffalo to get that up to MLB standard. They're losing money. They're losing money hand and fist. I mean, of course, the team will be fine. They're like the Rangers. They're a big market team. They're the only team in Canada, so they'll be fine long term. But you've got to, I'm with you. If they're not playing in Toronto by June, then I'll take them out of the playoff race.
Well, let's shift here and talking Baseball Australia Live, baseball's best mate. Happy opening to everybody watching us worldwide here. Dan Vaughn in Texas, Paul Morgan in Perth. I want to shift gears here as we have to kind of wrap things up here shortly. A big night out west. A big night out there. It was big. I went through the photo album, made this little montage, and I'll play it for you guys in a moment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And really, basically what happened was it was a long time coming. It's a new Baseball Western Australia Hall of Fame. Of course, every year Baseball WA does and every state does this. Victoria, Queensland, they do their awards ceremony. But this year was a debut of an exciting Hall of Fame and initiative and really a bright future there. Tell us what that was like and give us a little background on what that big night was on Tuesday with the Baseball WA Hall of Fame there in Perth.
Yeah, it's interesting. So when sort of COVID hit obviously 12 months ago, like I was very fortunate to be asked by Lockie Dale, CEO of Baseball WA, to kind of be involved in what's known as the Heritage Committee, which is preserving the history and the heritage of the game in the West. And first task was to build this Hall of Fame. So myself and our great mate Simon Isons and like long time legends of the game in the West.
There you
Bob
are
Ossie,
on the screen.
Yeah, Bob Ossie and Don Knapp and these guys, long time Verity, is a lot of really good baseball people involved. So we made sort of the Hall of Fame eventually, and it all culminated on Tuesday evening with the induction of the Hall of Fame. And DB, it was amazing to me. And look, I know a good amount of the history of baseball in WA, but this project really made me just see so much more about the history of baseball out west, and just guys who who had like either signed contracts in in the 70s into the US, in the and the deals I had, even guys like Kevin Hooker who signed professional contracts over there, which I didn't fully know about. And, to have the room around, guys like Graham Lloyd was in the room, of course, two-time World Series winner. We had, like Tony Manteljan's, guys who were so into it all. And a guy like Neville Pratt, DV, out of the West, who's since passed, but Neville was instrumental in creating he created the International Baseball of Oceania Committee, which has allowed Australia to qualify into the Olympics. And there's just so many fascinating stories. It was wonderful. Our friend Simon Isons, of course, spoke on behalf of all the Hall of Famers and did an incredible job about being a life as a baseballer. But regular guys have come through the Talking Baseball booth was in there, inducted Jason Hewitt, Simon Isons. There was a lot of great guys that Shane Tonkin, a lot of great guys who were through, and even guys like Scott Steed and these guys who had come from Oregon and come to WA, and guys like Don Knapp and Bob Ossie. These sort of the Oregon connection to Western Australian baseball and what they've created was huge, and it was just it was a great night, DV. It was a real honour to sort of be the host of the evening, and some phenomenal stories, and guys like one of the real good stories, which I'll just share quickly. I know you'll sort of like this, DV, was one of the guys, Jim Dore, who got inducted, who is a lifetime member of the South Perth Cubs for our man, but he started his career, started his baseball journey in the Claxon Shield, and then got called up to World War II, became a prisoner of war in Singapore, and was suffering for a couple of years as a prisoner of war. Came back, and then sort of first thing he did when he came back was started to play baseball again. And baseball in many ways, once he got his freedom again from being a prisoner of war, was the great escape for him. And it just there's just so many good stories from just so many different guys out west that it's just that sometimes that we don't probably dig deep enough on, but it was exciting. And of course the late great Greg Jelks as well inducted, and it was a good night, TV. Of course,
yeah, it really was.
In the next couple of days, there'll be a website with all the bios and all the great quotes from all the teammates as well involved as well, which will be awesome.
As the round third ahead for home on Talking Baseball Australia Live, Baseball's Best Mate, I got something for you. I don't think you know this. I don't think anybody in Australia knows this. Well, except for maybe the guy I'm going to talk about. So here we go. We can do a little Dan's Did You Know? Here we go. Let's play it for you right now. Dan's Did You Know? All right. Well, Dan's Did You Know? Now, we know Graham Lloyd is the only well, first off, he's the first World Series winner in Australian Baseball League, first Australian to win a World Series, right? We all know this. He won two. Graham Lloyd is a great story, and I dug into his story a little bit. There's a lot to talk about. I'm going to save some of that for down the line. Hope we get Lloydie on and talk about it a bit. But
he did. I did ask him, actually. I did ask him on Tuesday night. He said he'd be happy to join us one day. So
great. Well, we're looking forward to having him. Did you know, first off, I did some research here, and did you know Graham Lloyd opening day numbers? Opening day. Now, granted, not a lot, but he's the first Australian, obviously, pitcher in the big leagues, first to win a World Series. We know that. He appeared in 4 opening days. Now, he was on more than that as far as rosters are concerned, but he appeared in 4 opening day games in his 10-year career. His 4 games, he pitched 2 1/3 innings, giving up 2 hits. That only came in 1 ball game, by the way, in Kansas City. No walks. But he does have an opening day win. Did you know 20 years ago today, in Australia that is, April 2nd in Australia, 20 years ago today, is when he got his only opening day win in relief. That would have come as what? What team was he playing for, folks? Anybody want to guess? Do you want to guess, partner, where he was 20 years ago? You know this team very well.
I know where he was 20 years ago because
he was a 5-4 winner. A 5-4 winner as a Montreal Expo at Wrigley Field on this date, April 2nd, 2001. On this date, in front of 38,466, Graham Lloyd got a relief win in opening day 2001. His only opening day win in his 4 appearances on opening day. How about that? Did you know that? Did anybody know that?
I did. I didn't actually know that. I will say that. But it's when we get Lloydie on, his time at Montreal is actually really interesting because it's because my wife, who is from Montreal, like she still is hanging out for the Expos to come back before she'll commit to any other team, including the Blue Jays. So she's still waiting for them Expos to come back. But Lloydie's got a bit of French as well. He speaks a bit of French as well from his time in Montreal, Lloydie, and I think he's still got a house there as well. And he loved the place up there. And there he is, folks, in the Expos kit. Look, let's be fair. If they could be a real winner, and this whole team's trying to make money as well. If you read the tea leaves with the Tampa Bay Rays in the next couple of seasons, they look like the Rays will play April, May in Tampa, and then June, July, August in Montreal as the Montreal Expos, and then back to Tampa Bay, which makes sense for the weather because it allows Montreal to build an outdoor ballpark as well. Because look, baseball in April outdoors in Montreal probably not the smartest thing in the world, but the Expos could be back soon, sir.
I thought you'd like that autograph photo there. There's a lot of really good things. And I want to talk to him about his Yankee time. There's a really interesting backstory. I think I sent that link to you. I believe I did from a couple of years ago. There's a lot of interesting stories of the backstory about the Yankees and Steinbrenner and the whole dynamics of how he became a Yankee and what happened and what really basically Joe Torre gambled on him. There's a whole story there. I'd love to hear his comments about that because he delivered big time as a setup guy, the New York Yankees. But there you go. That's your Did You Know right there. There's no sponsor, but I love the jam. So let's play the jam again. Let's do that for you real quick. Here we go. Did you know? There we go. The little DVs. Did you know? There we go. As a great man once said, that Dan.
You know that Dan in a bar. Nothing starts 2021 better than that Dan in a bar.
There you go. We made it. We were opening day. I'm not so sure we thought we'd be here 6 months ago, but we're here. Final thoughts for you, partner, as we go into what is an exciting day for all of us.
Absolutely, and I just think it's so great that baseball's back, and my hats off to all Major League Baseball for just persevering and getting through it. I'm so excited, DV. I think there's a game. It's just about to start on ESPN here, which I'm just looking forward to going out, making myself a coffee in a second, and maybe a hot cross bun for Easter, and watching a ball game.
There you go.
I think it'll be great. And I'm so happy baseball's back. And DV, it must, for you especially, it must sort of just hope springs eternal. It must just it must be a little like that for you.
It is. The fact that I'll be in Kansas City in 2 weeks. The Monarchs season's just a little over a month away. It's been a while, but I'm looking forward to getting back to the great Southern land with you, be back in the booth again, and be 101 again. This thing kind of passes, but all good, man. Thank you. I'm sorry about the little late confusion on the time change, but
that's all good.
That's what Belize does to you. And wife and I got a flight to Padres. So we got to get going.
You're an island time, so it's all good. So enjoy, sir. Enjoy happy fishing down in Padre as well.
Yeah, I will. Love you, mate. Good to see you, and we'll see you. We're on what? We're on sometime, like soon. Like we're gonna start. We'll announce that, right? We'll do a big announcement on our Facebook page. How about that? Is that better?
Works for me.
That'll work. That's your family, mate. Happy Easter to you. Happy Easter, Paul. There he is.
Well, see you.
Paul Morgan. There he is. Paul Morgan on Baseball's Best Mate, Talking Baseball Australia, live right here. I'm going to give you one more thing. This is a shot of what we're at today, just so you guys can see this here. This is Texas Live. This is what we were going to shoot in, but it's just too loud.
I don't think you'll see him DH too often. Chris Woodward told us before the games, want to get him in the lineup, but Eli will get an opportunity defensively, mostly in the outfield. We may see him at first base every once in a while. There's a maybe tough lefty on the mound. The Rangers have Ronald Guzman and Nate Lowe, two left-handed hitters. So Eli, a former shortstop, will get some opportunities at first, it sounds like, this year.
Well, this one line to the drops in, base hit, low scores, and it's 5-0 Rangers. 7-1 for the Rangers.
You get an idea of where I'm at here. Let me mute that for you. There's me walking around, and that's where Texas Live. That's Texas Live right there. Kind of cool little place, isn't it? Really cool. Kind of cool place there. I want to show you guys that. Just kind of give you an idea of where we were and where I've been this afternoon. Big thanks to Paul Morgan for joining me. He is baseball's best mate. He's my best mate. Much love to you and your family. You folks worldwide. Phil, good to see you out there. Bob up in Chicagoland. Everybody worldwide. Much love. I say this a lot. I told this to Nicholas Batters on the phone the other day. We were talking, of course, Nicholas, the voice of the Melbourne Aces. I believe that the fans of the Australian Baseball League, the fans of baseball in Australia, are the best because there's a passion there that's nowhere else. There's such a passion for the game, and I really appreciate their support of what we're doing here on Talking Baseball Australia Live. Baseball's best mate all year long. Happy opening to everybody. Big thumbs up to you. Let's be better tomorrow. We were today. Virtual hugs to you. Let's fight on. Let's go forward. Let's have a great 2021 season. Until next time on Talking Baseball Australia Live. As we say in the booth, see you in the next broadcast, everybody.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back for its fruit.